Can you guys imagine if my video started like this? Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, and most importantly, welcome back to another banger of a video. Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, and most importantly, welcome back to another episode of reviewing Monday Night Raw. Wait a minute, did I just hear something? Did I just hear you guys say something? Did I just hear you guys say that you want to see that one more time? I said, do you guys want to see that one more time? Well, let's go! Now let's get into the review of Monday Night Raw. So what we get? What we get? Huh? We got CM Punk. We got AJ Styles. Yeah. We got Grande. Grande wins. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's it for the videos, guys. Thank you so much for watching. 4 letters, 1 word. Yeah. Now imagine if the video just ended right there, you know. Everything you saw up to this point was my review for Monday Night Raw. Can you imagine that? Unfortunately, you don't have to imagine that, because that's exactly what Jey Uso segments are like every single week, but a lot less entertaining. And especially after watching tonight's Monday Night Raw, I can say with absolute certainty that Jey Uso is the main culprit that's holding back Monday Night Raw. I mean, of course, we got triple fraud, you know, the bald fraud Triple H. I am Adolf Hitler! But, you know, in the shows itself, the guy that's really holding the show back, because I'm not gonna lie, this episode of Monday Night Raw wasn't entirely terrible. I mean, it wasn't a totally bad show, you know? I mean, I'd still be lying if I said I really enjoyed the show, because I did not, you know? I really did not enjoy the show, but then again, it wasn't terrible either, you know? Monday Night Raws are just mid, or, you know, a little below average, or maybe sometimes just average or something like that. But I feel like some minor and really simple changes can make the show go from being, you know, mid, below average to, you know, being above average, slightly above average, or, you know, maybe even good. And that small change is taking the belt off of Jey Uso. Listen, I don't care what anybody says, alright? Jey Uso's title reign has been dog ass, alright? It's been terrible. It's just been garbage. And I know some of y'all are going to say, oh, but he just won the title, though. He just won the title, though. Like, shut up, alright? He did not just win the title. He won the title like almost a month and a half ago, alright? So get out of here with that he just won the title BS, alright? He did not just win the title. He's held it for a hot minute. And by now, you know, a month and a half, he should have done at least something. Especially as a full-timer that's showing up every single week, he should have at least done something of value, something that has material. But, you know, he's really done nothing of value. Everything he's done just sucks. And almost every single week, it's clear that he just wastes everybody's time until, you know, the real main eventers come in. Like, you know, the Seth Rollins and, you know, the CM Punks. And I guess to an extent, I don't mind it, you know? I don't mind having Jey Uso as a filler world champion. Like, you know, because I get it. He's your biggest merch seller, one of the biggest merch sellers in WWE. So you want to reward him with a world title reign. Whatever, you know? Whatever. But here's the thing. The world heavyweight champion should be the top guy on Monday Night Raw. If your champion, you know, if your world champion is not even the top guy on the roster, it's really going to ruin the prestige of the world heavyweight championship. Jey Uso just cannot be the top guy on Monday Night Raw. He just cannot. Seth Rollins and CM Punk are the top guys on Monday Night Raw right now. One of them should be the world champion. That's just, you know, the plain simple fact.
But okay, fine, I get it, you know. Sometimes you gotta give the world championship to people that are not gonna, you know, carry the brand or be the top guy of the brand, whatever. But when that's the case, you know, when that's the case, when someone like Jey Uso, someone who's clearly not the top guy on Monday Night Raw, is the world champion, and you clearly cannot place him as the top guy on Monday Night Raw, when that's the case, you're supposed to give him a short title reign. You're supposed to give him a title reign not longer than a month, all right? Just give him a month-long title reign, max, and then just get the title off of him and give it to whoever the actual top guy is on Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins should be the World Heavyweight Champion right now, because really, the fact that he's not the World Heavyweight Champion right now is kind of hurting his story, and because his story is the top thing on Monday Night Raw, it's really hurting Monday Night Raw as well. Because what do you mean Seth Rollins is coming out here every single week just straight up yapping about how, you know, he's going to have the power. He's going to have all the power. He's the top guy on Raw. He's this, he's that, he's all that stuff. He's dominating everyone. You know, him, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker are beating up everyone. And, you know, all that stuff. He's involved in the main event now almost every single week. He says and does all these things, and he's not even the world champion, dude. Just imagine that. Right now, he's basically being Roman Reigns from 2020, but, you know, without the championship. Can you imagine if Roman Reigns came out here every single week in 2020 and talked about how, you know, I'm the tribal chief, I'm the head of the table, acknowledge me, without even having the championship? Like, come on, man. That's just not good. He can't do that. You know, we're supposed to believe that, you know, Seth Rollins is actually a threat and, you know, the biggest threat on Monday Night Raw, but, you know, he doesn't even have the championship. Like, come on, man. And who has the championship? Jey Uso. Jey Uso. Someone who can't cut a good promo or have a good match to save his goddamn life. The World Heavyweight Championship has suffered enough, dude. Really, it's suffered enough. Because, you know, who was the previous champion? It was Gunther. And Gunther, he was facing the exact same problem, you know? He was not the top guy on Monday Night Raw. He was playing second fiddle to the, you know, real top guys on Monday Night Raw, which, again, you know, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and all those guys, while Gunther was just left feuding with guys like, you know, Finn Balor and, you know, Jey Uso and all of those guys. And, you know, he was really treated like a mid-carder. And, you know, so is Jey Uso right now. Damian Priest, dude, the champion before Gunther, he was like, you know, not even close to being the top guy on Monday Night Raw. He was just involved in like whatever Judgment Day BS he was on, while, you know, the real main eventers were CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. The World Heavyweight Championship is relatively new, dude. It's a relatively new championship, so you should always be going the extra mile to make it good, to make it feel prestigious. But unfortunately, WWE's not doing that because we're left with Jey Uso and his terrible segments every single week as the world champion, while, you know, the main eventers like Seth Rollins and CM Punk are going out there and having all these segments without even having the championship involved, and not to mention the fact that they just had a WrestleMania main event without the world championship involved, which is really hurting, you know, their rivalry, their storyline, while we're stuck with Jey Uso as world champion. It's a joke, dude. It's an absolute joke. And Seth Rollins and CM Punk's story, their rivalry, has turned into a joke as well. And because that's the biggest thing on Monday Night Raw, because that's the biggest story on Raw, WWE Raw has also turned into one big, 4 letters, 1 word, joke. Anyways, now let's get right into the review of Monday Night Raw. The show kicks off with CM Punk. Is it going to be alive on a Monday night in Oklahoma or what? God damn it, man. The same thing every single week. Or, you know, not really every single week, because for the past, like, 2 weeks or so, CM Punk has only been showing up to Monday Night Raw for the last 4 seconds. So I guess this is finally a breath of fresh air that we're getting CM Punk kicking off the show with a proper promo. Wow, whatever, you know. But, you know, again, it starts off with the same old, and then got to be alive. Like, stop, man. Just stop this. It's not even a good catchphrase. Or if you can even call it that. Just end it, alright? Just end it right here. Tulsa is the last place you're going to be asking if you know, they're good to be alive, or, you know, whatever you ask them. Then this is the last time you're doing it, alright? Then, you know, just end it right here. Anyway, CM Punk starts a yap sesh about how, you know, he's going to cash in on either Jey Uso, the World Heavyweight Champion, or, you know, John Cena, the WWE Champion. He talks a little bit about both of them and stuff like that. He starts talking about some old stuff with John Cena, you know, about John Cena. He even calls him John Cena, like, you know, Justin Roberts. That was pretty cool. But then again, man, this guy hasn't even won the qualification match yet. He has a qualification match coming up later tonight, and he's out here already talking about how, you know, oh, I'm going to cash in, I'm going to become world champion and all that stuff. Like, just stop it, all right? Just shut up. You haven't even qualified for the ladder match yet, and you're already talking about cashing in and stuff like that. Just shut up, alright? Just stop. You literally got tsunamied by Bronson Reed, and you haven't even said a single word about it yet, alright? Just talk about that. Just talk about the story you ran right now. Anyways, yeah, whatever. Then we see Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn now obviously he starts his usual yap sesh, which is just sad, because these two I really like these two, Sami Zayn, CM Punk. CM Punk is one of my all-time favorites, one of my GOATs, he's in my top 2. Maybe, now I'm starting to feel like CM Punk might be my top 1. And Sami Zayn is someone that I've really liked and, really loved for like years now. But whatever they're doing with both of them right now just absolutely sucks. Because Sami Zayn comes out here and he just starts talking about how, like, unfortunately, Money in the Bank is not in the cards for me, this year. But it's for you, and you have to win it, Punk. I hope you win it. I want you to win it. I want you to win the World Heavyweight Championship. I want you to be successful, Punk. I love you, Punk. I want you to win everything, Punk. I want you to be the top dog, Punk. While I just sit here like a cock and watch you achieve everything I want to achieve, Punk. Go ahead, Punk. Win everything, Punk. That's basically what Sami Zayn says. Anyways, then CM Punk just shakes Sami Zayn's hand, and he spanks him in the ass and just leaves, and that's it. That's it for the segment. That's really it. So this was really a nothing burger of a segment to kick off Monday Night Raw, or a nothing burger of a promo, which was nothing but a full-blown yap sesh. Every Monday Night Raw, dude, every Monday Night Raw kicks off with a yap sesh with, Seth Rollins or, whatever, It always starts off with a yap sesh, and then, a Judgment Day backstage promo, and then we get a match, and then, a commercial, and then, we get another, vignette, and then another mid-card match, a tag match maybe. That's literally the format every single week. Every single show just feels like the same goddamn thing, man. How is this even possible? Triple H, how is it even possible for you to be this bad of a booker? I really did not think this would even be possible, There's no way Triple H actually sucks this much, dude. Anyways, whatever, man. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we get the women's Money in the Bank qualifier between Liv Morgan, Ivy Nile, and Stephanie Valker. This was Stephanie Valker's, debut on Monday Night Raw. That was pretty cool, and it really seems like they're making a big deal out of it, and they really want to push Stephanie Valker. That's awesome, and I really like that they're actually pushing, at least they want to push, for now, all the NXT call-ups, except Carmelo Hayes for some reason. Push Carmelo Hayes, goddammit! Anyways, yeah, getting back to Stephanie Valker. I think she's pretty cool, at least from what I've seen. I really haven't watched NXT that much. But yeah, from what I've seen, she's really good. And I really like that WWE is actually pushing her and, capitalizing on her momentum. And obviously, Stephanie Valker in, whatever match, it wasn't too crazy. The match wasn't anything crazy. But then again, that's all it really needed to be, I think this match did the job. It was everything it needed to be. And obviously, Stephanie Valker wins, and she qualifies for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. That's cool. That's great. Welcome to Raw, Stephanie Valker. But unfortunately, that also means there's going to be a lot more gooners on Monday night. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Becky Lynch in a vignette, and she starts her usual yap sesh about how, lawyer keeps talking about how I steal opportunities, but I don't. I'm the best thing that ever happened to her. I've helped her ever since she was born, ever since she was a kid. I'm her mentor. And, at Money in the Bank, she's in a lose-lose situation. She's gonna raise my hand and stuff like that. It's just basically the same stuff, She talks about how, it's kind of a lose-lose situation for Lyra Valkyria. Oh, I can't talk, man. Lyra Valkyria, and, because how, if she loses and she's not gonna challenge for the title ever again, it's really gonna suck for Lyra Valkyria, because she's the only person making her relevant. Becky Lynch is making Lyra Valkyria relevant, and after Money in the Bank, if Lyra Valkyria wins, she's gonna be getting rid of that, unfortunately. But if she loses, she's gonna have to raise Becky Lynch's hand apparently, and congratulate her and stuff like that, or whatever. You get the point. Let's just move on. It's not too bad. I think I'm just lying here. I'm just straight up lying here by like ranting and stuff like that about this. This isn't really rant worthy. I actually think this rivalry has been pretty decent, and every single promos and brawls we've had have been, at least, decent, if not pretty good. So there's that. Let's just move on. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the next one was, Lyra Valkyria's promo with Becky Lynch anyways. So I'm just going to talk about it here. Lyra Valkyria sucks on the mic, man. Let's just admit that, all right? Let's just get that out of the way. Lyra Valkyria is just not good on the mic, and that's okay. We're not all The Rock. We're not all Dwayne Johnson here. Okay, fine. You know, it's really okay to admit it, guys. Lyra Valkyria sucks on the mic. Because I've seen a lot of people, you know, on social media just straight up lying about how, you know, she's actually great on the mic. And, you know, she's actually been, you know, really, you know, amazing and stuff like that in their promo battles against Becky Lynch. When in reality, you know, Becky Lynch has been dog walking her in every single promo. Because, you know, her delivery, you know, Lyra Valkyria's delivery on the mic, it's just not good. You really don't believe anything she says. You really don't. Anyways, yeah, Lyra Valkyria just starts her usual yap sash, and then, you know, it just ends with, you know, Becky Lynch leaving, you know, the ring, and Lyra Valkyria just calls her out to a brawl or something like that. Becky Lynch tries to leave, but then, you know, Lyra Valkyria just starts a brawl regardless, and then, you know, we just got a brawl. That's really it, you know. Let's just move on. Like I said, you know, this isn't a very rant-worthy, you know, rivalry. It's not too bad, but at the same time, it's not, like, great either, like a lot of people are saying it is. It's just good, you know. Maybe, like, it's, like, between average and pretty good. That's where this rivalry's at, and I'm not gonna lie, that's a whole lot better than a lot of stuff we're getting right now in WWE. So I guess I do understand to an extent why people are, you know, gassing this up and glazing it like it's the best thing in the world. Anyways, whatever, man. I'm just yapping at this point. Let's just move on. Then we hear all stars. Hey, main event Jey Uso's down in your city. It's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's shit. Line them all up like I'm down like this. Yeah. Let's go, Oos. Yeah, let's go, Oos. Yeah, you know what, man? I'm actually going to give it a pass this time around, you know? This one entrance, alright? This one entrance, for the first time ever, I actually kind of enjoyed a Jey Uso's entrance while watching it on TV, you know? Obviously live, Jey Uso's entrances are always good, you know? They're always enjoyable. But on TV, it always gets really boring, really dragged down. It's like, you know, just get it over with, man. But this one entrance, you know, I really did enjoy it because of Sami Zayn, dude. Sami Zayn was acting all oosy and stuff like that, which is pretty funny. It really brought back some memories. Sami Zayn is awesome, dude. I really miss the, you know, funny side of Sami Zayn. I really miss the goofy side of Sami Zayn. You know, I really wish we see this more often. I want to see more of goofy Sami, alright? That is what we want to see. I don't want to see none of this, you know, Sami Zayn yap sessions on Monday Night Raw every single week where he acts like a cuck and, you know, trying to, you know, uplift everyone else, you know, encouraging everybody to, you know, succeed and achieve everything that he needs to achieve while, you know, he just sits there like a cuck. So anyways, yeah, I really did enjoy seeing the goofy side of Sami Zayn and stuff like that. That was pretty fun. So for the first time ever, I actually had fun watching Jey Uso's entrance on TV. Wow, that is crazy. Anyways, yeah, then we get who are the opponents, dude? Oh, okay, yeah, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I got confused for a second. I was thinking we got, you know, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn versus War Raiders or something. Anyways, yeah, we got Jey Uso and Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and, you know, it was a pretty short match. I'm not gonna lie. This match was a lot shorter than I thought it would be, but it wasn't totally bad either. It was just whatever. And, you know, I think it really confirmed that Jey Uso really sucks in the ring. You know, every single time, man. Every single time this guy steps in the ring, I'm always like, okay, you know, maybe Jey Uso's, you know, finally gonna impress everyone. He's gonna shock everyone. He's gonna shock me. He's gonna start, you know, pulling out a lot of stuff from his bag and, you know, actually go back to being good old classic Jey that was, you know, hooping in the ring with Jimmy Uso with the Usos way back when. But unfortunately, no, this guy never does that, alright? Every single time he steps in the ring, he phones it in. He always phones it in because he doesn't have to put on a crazy match, you know? He just has to, you know, throw a, you know, regular punch, a basic punch, or a basic kick, and the fans are going to go yeet. You know, every single NPC in the arena is going to go yeet. So that's all he does. Just a bunch of basic punches, just a bunch of basic, you know, kicks, and that's really it. That's all Jey Uso did, and then, you know, throughout this match, and it's absolutely crazy to me that a 24 or 25-year-old like Braun Breaker is carrying Jey Uso in a match. That's just crazy, man. Anyways, yeah, this was just whatever match, like I said, and unfortunately, it got ruined by Seth Rollins ending the match in a DQ. So yeah, I'd say this was a bad match because of the DQ finish. This was a really bad match, and, you know, Seth Rollins just gets in the ring and starts attacking, you know, whoa, I just forgot their names, dude. Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, and then, you know, we see CM Punk. You know, we've been seeing this for the past, like, I don't even know how many weeks, dude. That's enough, man. Please, that's enough. Just do something new. Just do something new. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And I don't get why Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, two of the thickest boys on the roster, are running away from CM Punk, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn, who have a combined weight of 200 pounds. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. You guys are supposed to be destroying everyone. Bronson Reed is supposed to tsunami the heck out of all these guys at the same time. Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. These Brauns are confusing as hell, man. Come on. Braun Breaker is supposed to spear all these guys together. But no, here they are running away from CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso, man. Get out of here. It's really making this faction look bad because these guys are supposed to be dominant, you know? You have two juggernauts along with a, veteran than Seth Rollins. And, when that's the case, they should be destroying everyone every single time. But here they are, just running away. It's just stupid, man. It's absolutely stupid. And it just ruined the entire thing for me, So this whole segment, this whole match, this whole everything was just horrible. Let's just move on. Anyways, now I gotta talk about this. We see Sami Zayn backstage, after his match, he's getting checked out by the doctors and stuff like that. And then we just see Kieran Cross out of nowhere going, "Hey, Sami." And then, he just starts his usual yap sesh once again. The same thing he did last week, where he just, randomly, goes up to Sami Zayn and starts talking about, some stuff like, "Why would you turn heel, Sami? You're a bad guy, Sami. You could have won the World Championship by now, Sami." Here's the thing, Kieran. Why do you care? Why do you care? Why is everybody on the goddamn roster a cuck, dude? Why is everyone a cuck? Why is everybody talking about other people succeeding while they're not even succeeding? Kieran Cross has been in catering for God knows how long, and here he is encouraging Sami Zayn to become world champion. Like, why do you care, dude? If you really know so much about being a world champion, then go be a world champion yourself. Just go after the world championship yourself. But no, you're out here doing nothing in only backstage segments with Sami Zayn. It makes no sense in kayfabe, and it really makes everybody look like goddamn cucks, because Sami Zayn himself is an absolute cuck that, is not going after the world championship because, apparently it's held by his friend Jey Uso, and, he's only like helping his friend Jey Uso, the world champion, someone he should be going after. He's only helping him, while, guys like CM Punk, he's just encouraging them to win the World Heavyweight Championship, while he just, sits here, does nothing, and gets beaten up, gets bitched out by Braun Breaker and, Bronson Reed every single week. And, he's basically a cuck, dude. Sami Zayn is a cuck, and, Kieran Cross is the cuck of the cuck. And every single Monday night is just one big cuckery. Like, I've just had enough, man. I've just had enough of this. And kayfabe, it really ruins everything. Really ruins everything. Because, these guys don't even want the top prize. They don't even want to go after the World Heavyweight Championship. Get out of here, man. Let's just move on. Anyways, another backstage promo I want to talk about is Jey Uso and Gunther. Anyways, yeah, like I said last week, or maybe the week before that, I'm not even sure at this point. Jey Uso and Gunther, they've already said everything they can possibly say. Well, that was a big burp. To each other, right? They've said everything they can possibly say to each other already, because they've been feuding for the past 3 months, or for 6 months. For 6 months, dude. They've been feuding for 6 months, and I'm tired of it. Anyways, yeah. So they've already fired all of their ammo. Now they're out of ammo, and obviously they can't say anything. They can't say anything new, and that's exactly what we got here. Gunther just repeating the same stuff over and over and over again about how Jey. Yeah, you're a good person, Jey. You're a great person, Jey. I love you, Jey. Like I said last week, Gunther's promos are all the same. He just gasses up his opponent and, glazes them for 5 minutes and then says, "Oh, but I am still the best," or some basic stuff like that. Every single week, man, it's the same thing, and I'm tired of it. Even here, it was like, "Jey, you're a great person, Jey. You're awesome, Jey. You always have your friends back, Jey. But unfortunately, this is a very selfish business, and you're supposed to look after yourself, Jey. So you're not a good champion, Jey. You're a good person, but you're not a good champion, Jey." And all that stuff. And what was Jey Uso's response? Gunther's literally talking, crap about you. He's saying you're not fit to be champion and stuff like that. And what do you say, Jey? What do you say? 3 letters, 1 word. Tap. Tap. That's what you say, huh? That's what you say, because, apparently you're going to make him tap out again. Like, come on, man. What is this stupid stuff? What is this stupid nonsense? And people wonder why I don't want him as champion. People wonder why I keep, quote unquote, hating on this guy. People keep wondering why I'm a, quote unquote, Jey Uso hater. This is why, alright? This is why. This guy's promos are nonsense. This guy's promos are bad. They're just straight up bad. He cannot say anything that has value, right? Because what do you mean Gunther just straight up insulted every fiber of your being and your response is 3 letters, 1 word, tap. Like, come on, man, get out of here. This guy cannot tell a story. It's just a plain simple fact at this point. He had an opportunity last week and he just forgot his lines. He started stuttering and he just basically just said 4 letters, 1 word, yeet, and then he just dipped. This guy cannot tell a story. He has to resort to the crowd saying yeet every single time so, hide the fact that he can't cut a good promo. Get out of here, man. I'm tired of Jey Uso as world champion. Just end it already. I don't even care, dude. Gunther can beat Jey Uso next Monday. I don't even care. Gunther can become the World Heavyweight Championship again, and I'm not going to complain. Wow, dude. Just wow. Let's just move on. And now it's time for the main event. CM Punk versus AJ Styles versus El Grande Americano. My disappointment is immeasurable, dude. CM Punk, AJ Styles, these two. I love these two. CM Punk and AJ Styles, like, come on. I've wanted to see these guys mix it up for so long. I've wanted this match for so long. And now that we finally got it, we have El Grande Americano sticking it up. Get out of here, man. What is this? Get the hell out of here. Anyways, yeah, this match wasn't even that good, That's exactly why I was so disappointed. Because, it really didn't live up to, what I was expecting out of CM Punk and AJ Styles. Unfortunately, it just didn't live up to that, It didn't live up to what we all were expecting. This was just a whatever match on a whatever Monday Night Raw. And it really sucks that this was the first time ever we got CM Punk and AJ Styles in a WWE ring. That just sucked, man. You guys really wasted it now. On this garbage match. Get out of here, man. Get the hell out of here. Anyways, then CM Punk hits El Grande Americano with a GTS. He covers him, and the referee clearly counts to 3. But Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they pull CM Punk out of the ring. Obviously the referee clearly hit the 3 count. I'm not stupid. I literally saw that. But anyways, yeah. Then again, let's be honest. We all saw this coming. We all knew that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were gonna interfere in this match, and that's exactly what they did. They started attacking CM Punk, and AJ Styles got hit in the leg as well, accidentally. And Sami Zayn and Jey Uso arrived to the rescue, and somebody, I don't remember who, AJ Styles takes out everybody, and then AJ Styles goes for the phenomenal forearm on El Grande Americano, and El Grande Americano catches him mid-air with a headbutt. Maybe he had the metal piece in his mask. I don't know. Who knows? But then again, who cares? Because El Grande Americano won the match, and nobody cares. Nobody cares, man. You have one last spot in the Money in the Bank contract, and on the ladder match, you could have given it to either CM Punk or AJ Styles, but you gave it to El Grande Americano, man. El Grande Americano. Are you kidding me? We desperately needed either CM Punk or AJ Styles, dude. I am tired of El Grande. I don't care what anybody says. El Grande Americano, this whole gimmick just sucks. It just sucks, right? That's what it is. I don't care what kind of comedy relief you guys are getting. It's not even funny, right? It's not even funny. Like, we've had gimmicks like this before. Elias and Ezekiel. This is basically Timo, Elias, and Ezekiel. That's what it is. Like, I'm not saying it's offensive and stuff like that. Like, no, I'm not a snowflake. Like, obviously not. I'm not offended by this. But then again, it's just not good, right? That's just a plain simple fact. It's just not good. It just sucks. And it's really holding Chad Gable back. Chad Gable is one of the best you have on the roster. One of the best, especially in ring, dude. One of the best you have on the roster. He's great on the mic as well. He's funny as hell. And now you're using him for this, stupid stuff. This stupid filler stuff with El Grande Americano. Get out of here, man. If Chad Gable was in the ladder match, I really wouldn't complain at all. But El Grande, man, get out of here. We needed either CM Punk or AJ Styles. Get out of here, man. This just sucks. And, I absolutely hated this episode of Monday Night Raw because of that. Because this left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So yeah, the fact that we got AJ Styles and CM Punk in the same ring, in the WWE ring for the first time ever, and it was wasted on this horribly booked main event match on Monday Night Raw, it's just absolutely sickening. And I am absolutely sick to my dick that El Grande Americano was the guy that qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Wow, dude. Just wow. This ladder match it's just filled with stinkers, dude. What do you mean Solo Sikoa and El Grande are in the same match? Just get out of here, man. This just sucks. This whole build-up to Money in the Bank has been horrible. Just horrible. I literally forgot that it was this weekend, man. Yeah, this just sucks, man. Whatever. You know, I think I'm just done with this review of Monday Night Raw. There's really nothing more to say. And that's really sad, man, because I love wrestling, you know? I love talking about wrestling. You know, this is something that I just do for hours and hours, you know, talking about wrestling. And I do that for free. And now I can get paid to do that. And, you know, technically, I should be happy, you know, I should be more than happy to do this every single week. But unfortunately, I'm just not. I'm really not, you know. After watching every single WWE Raw or SmackDown, I'm just not excited to talk about it. I'm never left with the satisfaction like, wow, I just watched a wrestling show. I'm not even saying the show needs to be awesome or great or, you know, a lot of memorable stuff and stuff like that. Like, no, I just want to be filled with the satisfaction that, you know, okay, I just watched a wrestling show. Wrestling, you know, which is something I really like, something I'm really passionate about. I just watched a pretty good show of it, you know. That's what I should feel like. But unfortunately, this doesn't even feel like wrestling, you know. This feels like a parody of wrestling. That's what it is. This is a parody of wrestling, and you know, it really kills my love for the game. I think great ones said it the best, you know? Making content for wrestling was so much better when, you know, you were actually left with the satisfaction and, you know, the excitement to talk about it after every single wrestling show. But unfortunately, these don't even feel like wrestling shows, and, you know, you're not even excited to talk about it after that. You know, even someone like The Great One, who's been making videos for like, what, well over a decade now, is saying that. Shout out to The Great One, man. The Great One's a real one. Like, he's the undisputed GOAT of wrestling YouTube. I don't care what anybody says. So yeah, when all these big YouTubers are, you know, losing interest in, you know, the product and stuff like that, except maybe Santi Zap, you know, he can place a cactus to his balls and he's still not going to say one bad thing about WWE. So yeah, you know, the majority, I'm talking about the majority, you know, the majority of the big YouTubers, the people that have been making these videos, you know, wrestling content for years now, for decades now, even they're like, you know, kind of losing interest with a product, with the WWE product. They're expressing their disappointment and stuff like that. When that's the case, it really goes to show you how bad the product is right now, you know? This is like 2019 levels of bad, dude. That we're really getting there. Because, you know, I see a lot of people still saying, you know, oh, we might be in the trenches now. This might be a bad time for WWE. But let's all be grateful that it's at least not as bad as 2019. Are you guys sure? Are you guys sure? Because, you know, if you ask me, it's just recency bias. I think 2019 and 2025 are not that far apart when it comes to being really bad eras for WWE. This is actually one of the worst eras for WWE we've seen, you know, in WWE history, man. This is one of the worst eras ever. But then, yeah, there's really nothing more to say, you know. I've really been talking about this for like, you know, I don't even know how many months now, and I'm tired of it, dude. I'm just tired of talking about the same thing over and over and over and over again. I'm just tired, man. I'm just tired. We need change, dude. We desperately need change. Anyways, about this Monday Night Raw, getting back to the Monday Night Raw, I think I'm going to give this like a, let me think, like a 5.25 out of 10. Again, just like last week, not the worst show ever, but, you know, it was certainly not good either. I'm sorry that I missed a lot of the reviews, you know, last week. You know, I couldn't watch SmackDown last week because, you know, I was traveling and stuff like that. And I really wanted to make a video about R-Truth, you know, R-Truth getting released and Carlito getting released. It's really sad, it really is. I'm going to make a separate video on it, don't worry. Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention in this video, you know. We got We Want Truth chants all over, you know. It was everywhere. So that was awesome. That was great to see. Shout out R-Truth, man. I'm going to make a separate video on it, so just stay tuned for that. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.